This episode of PDX Spotlight is brought to you in association with Portland Radio Project.
Hi, my name is Moorea Masa of Moorea Masa The Mood, and you're watching PDX Spotlight.
We're so glad that you got to perform for us at the Aladdin Theater, captured a great performance. But let's turn the clock back a bit. I want to talk to you about kind of those early influences, because as a vocalist, you're one of my favorite in town. It's just, when you see you live, you're captivating and you put so much into every note. So I'm really interested to see who's your early influences.
Well, I love a lot of old soul singers like Aretha and Etta James and Nina Simone. And then when I was growing up, my mom listened to a lot of like neo soul and R&B, so I listened to a lot of Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu. A big one for me was India Arie. She was somebody I listened to a whole lot, and still listen to. Yeah.
It's a great, neo soul like her and Jill Scott. I can definitely see the
Oh
indie
yeah,
R&B.
Jill Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. She was a huge influence for me.
And to me, that movement of music was kind of like the second coming of that throwback Etta James, Muscle Shoals recording
Totally.
era. So now we live in a day and age where people have access to this music all the time, and it isn't this record label saying, here's a nice movement you should check out.
Yeah.
Who are some of the artists you're checking out right now that are kind of in that same vein?
Well, I love Emily King. I think it's, her music and mine, you can tell it's probably a big influence. And then I love Leon LaHavis. I've been listening to this girl Yeba a lot. She only has like 1 or 2 songs out or something, but she always posts like amazing videos of her singing. Who else? I have so many. I love Joey Dasick. I love Jamie Woods. I've been listening to a lot of Jess Best. Yeah, a lot of ladies.
How do you capture your own ideas for songwriting?
I spend a lot of time journaling. That's a really big one for me. To just be able to go back and look at my ideas and look at what I've been thinking about and try to put it into a song. Also, I always have my voice recorder on me on my phone. I'm constantly driving and singing random things. And funny story. One time I randomly sent my band a voice memo of like me, a 30-minute drive I had of me just like improvising things the whole time. I was like, please don't listen to that. Anyway, also when I'm on tour, depending on who I'm with, sometimes I'll have a hotel room and I try to just take that time to put intentional time into songwriting.
And day to day, you've got your guitar with you, voice lessons. How do you prepare yourself while you're on the road to be that strong vocally?
It's not always something I've thought about, but like maybe 10 years ago now, I had vocal nodules. And so, I was just like doing way too much. And that kind of started to put me on track into just vocal maintenance, vocal health. Like warm-ups and warm-downs and having a steamer on the road and how air conditioning affects your voice. There's so many things that your voice is a really, really sensitive instrument. Literally everything affects it. So just being mindful on the road, what you're eating, what you're drinking, just trying to be good to myself and my instrument. Yeah.
And you're also a teacher?
Yeah.
You teach vocals, so how does that translate and help your own music?
Oh man, I think, so teaching is one of my favorite things that I get to do musically. I've been teaching these vocal workshops recently, which are just so transformative. And for me and the people doing it, it's just to put yourself, it's such a vulnerable thing to sing and to sing in front of others. And often a small group is really vulnerable. And I have people in the group who have never sang in front of anybody and then sitting next to a working musician in town. And it's just like this really beautiful, everybody gets vulnerable, and it's a really beautiful process. And I think for me, teaching keeps me grounded because I think as a musician, you have to put yourself out there a lot. You're constantly having to sell yourself and tell people how great you are and come to this show and buy my record. And teaching, it's like I can be having a day where I'm just sending a million emails and then I go into a lesson and it's just all about holding space for another person. So it just gets me out of myself and getting to bring music to people and like help them fall in love with music or help open that up for them is like such an incredible thing that I feel really honored that I get to do with people.
Don't let me hurt. Don't let me hide. Don't wanna leave, but I try. You make me weak. You make me strong. Fall to my knees. You lift me up. I will fight these fears and these foolish doubts. I'll give it all to you. What else can I do? My pride was heavy, and I drank too much. I needed to push you away.
Tell me about some of the themes and ideas that went into this record, and maybe some of your favorite personal tracks.
I think the overall theme started to stem from, a ton of self-reflection in the last couple years. But also I was doing a collaboration with an artist who did all the artwork for all the singles and the album art. Her name's Alexandra Becker-Black. She's incredible. And she did this painting, and the idea was that I was gonna write a song to her painting, and she ended up doing this painting of my face, and I was like, how am I supposed to write a song about this painting of my face? And so I was like, okay, so I brought the painting in the studio, and I sat with it for a couple of hours, and it was really uncomfortable. I felt like I was like looking in a mirror. Then I started to allow myself to go into it a little further, and it felt like, you know, that started to have the theme of the whole album, which was just, I felt like I was taking a flashlight and shining it on all these dark and dusty corners of my brain that I hadn't wanted to look at or was too afraid to look at in the past, and just kind of illuminating them and facing it. And I, you know, I feel like that's what we're doing as a country right now. So a lot of the tracks, there's a couple of political tracks in there. And then, yeah, a lot of, like, Shine a Light is one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and it was from that experience, and also just a lot about my childhood and some of the harder things that I went through growing up. And yeah, just like really shining a light on these dark things and bringing it to the surface and talking about it with people, and you know, also some love songs in there and a couple of songs in there about, you know, the beginning of love and the kind of that back and forth vulnerability, the deep vulnerability of love. Yeah.
And sharing your artwork with people means sharing a part of you. Do you think that line has been pushed a little bit further out from you wanting to be more personal with your listeners now with the new work?
Yeah, I think that I'm constantly striving to lean into vulnerability when I'm, and to be more exposed in myself, because every time I write a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so scary, I'm gonna totally expose this dark part of me, and all these insecurities come up. And then, you know, it's like the first time I sang Shine a Light to one of my friends, this song is about abuse that I experienced as a child, and the first time, and I had all these thoughts like, you know, this is going to be too heavy for people or something, and the first time I shared it with somebody, you know, my friend was like, I experienced abuse as a kid too, and that song really spoke to me. He started crying, and it was like, this is, you know, that I have these moments over and over again that just remind me that when we talk about the hard things, or even the beautiful things, when we illuminate the beauty in our life, when we just talk about the things that are, you know, not just like, hey, how you doing? You know, the deeper things. It's like when you lean into that vulnerability, you find connection, and you find that people are craving to hear that, and that you're not alone, and it helps other people feel not alone. It helps me feel not alone.
And how's that been, sharing these songs with people in a live format, because that can get pretty intense emotionally? Have you ever had moments that have caught you off guard with these songs?
Totally. Yeah, they're always really emotional to sing, but it's also healing. They're really healing to sing. I feel like every time I get to sing these songs, I feel really, really grateful that I can share my own experiences and really go into them, and again face them and kind of process them and release them, you know.
Took the scissors, cut your hair, screaming on the kitchen floor. In the closet, I stayed hiding there, trying so hard to ignore the noise. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you in the fall. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you when it all came down. Shine a light on the corners of my mind. Shine a light on me. slowly as I backed away. You came running full force at me, begging me to stay. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you in the fall. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you when it all came back. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you when it all. Oh, oh, oh. You bruised me black and blue, but I still comforted you when it all came back. Shine a light on dark corners of my mind. Shine a light on me. Shine a light on dark corners of my mind. Shine a light on
What's your favorite part about being a supporting vocalist?
I love singing backup for people. It takes the pressure off being the main person, and it's a whole nother skill and a whole nother set of ears that you have to put on to listen, to follow another artist and what they're doing. I love getting to support other folks, and I love harmony. Like, that's one of my favorite things, is just like tons of vocals singing in harmony. It's really special.
I don't know any great singers who sing melodies when they're listening to other music. Like any other great vocalist, I was like, I'm trying to find all these crazy harmonies.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, harmony is really fun.
So what's your favorite part about sharing your original music with people? Because you spend a lot of time on stage. I just think you're one of the artists that's interesting to talk to about this because, as a lead person, I don't think sometimes people are like, I don't want to go sing backup once they've gotten a taste of the solo thing.
Yeah, I mean, singing backup also helps me pay my bills.
Touche.
and it takes the pressure off of, like I was saying, in the same way that teaching can help balance me and make me a more grounded person, just not focusing on myself all the time and focusing on getting to support other people really helps me stay grounded in my own stuff. And yeah, I love getting to do my own stuff. It really is, my own stuff is really where my heart and soul is at, because it's absolutely all me and, my most authentic self, and I'm kind of like the director of things. And even when I collaborate with other people, it's like, at the end of the day, it's my artistic vision, which I love getting to experience as well.
You did a really great Q&A when Shine a Light came out. I thought it was really cool, very candid. I didn't catch it live, but I spent some time with it. And of course, they can react live to you.
Yeah.
They can go back and ask questions. I think it's really cool. It's a good
was
move.
Really fun, and I think I was so distracted. But on the live feed, you can see things in time that people are saying, and I kept getting distracted and being like, "Hi, oh, hi, new person, oh, hi," and so I felt a little dorky there, but it was really cool to just talk to people. I at shows, oftentimes will kind of plan out what I want to say so I can be, in the moment, but also have an intentional message. And it was really cool to just get to chat with people who are moved by the music or who had funny questions for me, or I don't know. It was a really cool experience. I want to do it. I was really nervous about I was like, nobody's going to show up to my party.
Oh,
like,
man.
you know, when you
Yeah.
do a live feed, it's like you're hosting a party or something and you hope people show up and you're like, wait, people came. That's so cool.
Well, your Instagram is phenomenal too. It's always
thanks.
super positive. You do a lot of cool stuff from behind the scenes, and the balance of personal stuff is great too. But highly recommend following Moorea Masa on social media.
Thanks.
Tell the listeners how they can find you. How can you fans hear you?
Okay, so my name is spelled Mooreamasa. So most people can never spell my name. So I have to tell people that. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Moorea Masa Music, Instagram, Moorea Masa, my website, mooreamasa.com. I don't use Twitter very often. Every once in a while, I'm like, how do I do this?
Yeah,
And
a lot
I'll
of
like
people
try
can't
to try to post something. But yeah, those are the three main places to keep updated with what I'm doing.
Well, we appreciate your time and your performance, and of course your stories. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Ladies and gentlemen, Moorea Masa.
You can come on over and I'll make you a meal. Eat popcorn on my couch and then on Netflix and chill. You can come be a hour of day, 'cause I'm right here. 'Cause you got me, I got you. It's okay. We don't have to worry about it. I won't leave. I know it's safe. We have each other. That's all we need. I got you, and you got me. It's okay. We don't have to worry, no. Tell each other secrets and a spill all out there. Not just about the good times, but how we hurt. 'Cause I wanna keep it real. Don't have anything to hide. 'Cause you got me, I got you. It's okay. We don't have to worry about it. I won't leave. I know it's safe. We have each other. That's all we need. I got you, you got me. It's okay. We don't have to worry, no. Better together. Better together. Stronger when you're here. You got my back and I got yours. You got me, I got you. It's okay. We don't have to worry about it. I won't leave. I know it's safe. We have each other. That's all we need. I got you, you got me. It's okay. We don't have to worry, no. Hop into my car and we can go for a spin. Drive right past the city with the music blaring. We could go forever or stay Thank you.